I'm Tom Layson, and this is a Northwest Now Digital Extra. The climate is changing, and the data show that the rate of change since the dawn of the Industrial Revolution is off the charts. We know that because of research like the ice core drilling in Antarctica, where an undisturbed record of the Earth's climate through its natural cycles shows us that this cycle is being spun up to unprecedented levels due to the massive production of carbon dioxide from our industry and transportation. Both predictions of doom and predictions of business as usual are probably wrong, since the effects we're seeing already are remarkable, as temperatures around the Arctic Circle set annual records, and phenomena like ocean acidification has crept into historically benign environments like Puget Sound. Watching the ferry boats glide across the surface of the Sound, you'd never suspect a problem. But the combustion of the fossil fuels the ferries burn when combined with cars and trucks accounts for 45% of the carbon dioxide produced in Washington state, which then in turn is added to the huge global CO2 problem resulting from all of humankind's industry, with a big piece of it the fossil fuel-driven electricity production happening in many countries like China. One of the many results is ocean acidification, because carbon dioxide doesn't just confine itself to the atmosphere where it traps heat.
But that carbon dioxide is also absorbed by the world's oceans. So where the atmosphere meets the oceans, carbon dioxide crosses into the water. And over time, the oceans have absorbed about 30% of all the carbon that we've put into the Earth's atmosphere. And over the last several decades, we've found out that that carbon dioxide is slowly changing the chemistry of Puget Sound and the global oceans in ways that are harmful to animals that build shells and to many other species. We find out new sensitivities every year.
Micah Horwith is a coastal scientist working for the Washington Department of Ecology. He says Washington is one of the few states now tracking acidification. And while that data is only a few years old, it's been clear for years that shell-building species like barnacles, Pacific oysters, and crabs are being affected. And acidification isn't just from airborne CO2, it's made worse by the migration of stormwater, wastewater, and fertilizer-based nutrients flowing into the Sound, which causes another chain reaction of problems.
So wastewater and agricultural runoff, when it hits marine waters, can cause the blooms of phytoplankton, which in the short term actually counteract ocean acidification. When that phytoplankton starts photosynthesizing, it absorbs carbon dioxide like plants do and produces good conditions for shell-building animals. But when the phytoplankton dies and starts to sink to the bottom and decompose, it produces more carbon dioxide, which means that excess nitrogen that enters Puget Sound may be a source of additional acidification on top of the carbon dioxide that we're putting into the water.
Upwelling in the ocean brings acidified water to Puget Sound, and Horwith says the decay process at the bottom of the ocean almost guarantees 100 years of trouble. One more problem in a long list of them, including deforestation, shoreline armoring, and water quality problems from pharmaceuticals.
Acidification by itself may not be enough to cause an ecosystem collapse, but it's drawing down the energy reserves of marine life all across Puget Sound. Every little bit of energy that they have to put into coping with acidification is energy that they don't have to deal with warmer temperature, with toxics, and with other stresses in Puget Sound. So everything that we can do to reduce acidification buys our marine life time to cope with these other stresses. So I like seeing it as a constellation of different factors that we have to address all together. And acidification is one of many stressors.
To see our full discussion about climate change and the effort to gather data by drilling new ice core samples in the Antarctic, be sure to look in the Northwest Now digital section of kbtc.org. Northwest Now airs Friday nights at 7:30 right here on KBTC, and be sure to look for more digital stories like this one by following us on Facebook and Twitter at Northwest Now.